Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to rock? Welcome to episode 24 of Heavy Metal Sunday at Dunsies, where you get to watch an old heavy metal guy, me, reading an old heavy metal magazine, in this case Kerrang number 24, while drinking a cup of coffee. So what have we been listening to this week? Well, ironically enough, with OZZY being on the cover of Kerrang 24, I have been listening to Pride and Glory. Not OZZY, of course, but it is Zakk Wylde. Zakk Wylde is a monster guitar player, and I really like this as a sort of country edge to a sort of Skinner southern rock thing. Really good album, this, really good guitar playing. Not quite as many pinch harmonics as he normally does, but good. What have you been listening to? So, Kerrang 24, and I have two of these. Not quite sure why. I'll stick with the one that seems in better quality. So this is Kerrang 24, September the 9th to September the 22nd of 1982, 60 pence. Now at this point in time, this was for mad men only. But I think in 2025 we can safely say it's a magazine for everybody. So there's an Ozzy Osbourne exclusive, GILLAN, Spider, CONAN, KROKUS, MAGNUM, Jimi Hendrix, Tom Petty, MANOWAR, Survivor, 25 copies of Steel Crazy to be won. There it is. So what's normally was all the gossip on the first page, but here we have Motorway. 2468, You're Never Too Late. Pete Way and Eddie Clark discuss their eternal youth as well as new projects. Of course, they were forming a band, weren't they? But then Pete decided not to do it before they recorded anything. It's crazy. I'm not sure why he did that. Did he go and do something else? I'm not sure. Fastway. I'll scan that in for you. It's quite interesting. Fastway are a really good band. Ironically enough, though, you know, having said that, when I saw them with AC/DC, would that have been 86? But later on, I didn't think they were that good, I have to say, you know. Pains me to say that, but I didn't think they were that good live. I didn't see them earlier than that. I think they might have been better earlier. Ozzy with a skinhead. Yeah. So this is Mayhem. Hollywood. A quick chorus of I'm So Bald with the USA. According to our spies, newlywed and newly weighty. A good £10 on the old Ozzy belly after that nice Hawaii honeymoon. Ozzy Osbourne is quite bald and happy as a lark about it. I'll scan this in for you. Genesis were just having a quiet drink backstage at the LA Forum Club after 2 nights of a sold out 18,000 seater shows, when who should breeze in with his best togs but Rod Stewart with Alana in tow. Did we really overhear them say something about Phil Collins doing an ABBA with Mrs. S? Who else is in here? Queen, REO Speedwagon, Girl School. We've had the Lock Up Your Sons tour by Girl School. We've had the Lock Up Your Daughters tour by Motorhead. And now, courtesy of Van Halen, we have the first American Lock Up Your Sheep tour. Yes, interesting stuff. What's page 2 of Mayhem? Frank Marino with a Mahogany Rush car. Here's a particularly tacky tale from those perpetrators of Fire and Brimstone. Venom lead singer Kronos, renowned for his impersonations of frogs and other reptilian creatures, was found guilty of disturbing the peace recently, bound over for a year and fined £100. Apparently the man, who was less than totally sober, needless to say, had been unable to contain himself from pawing. It's going to be one of these days where I'm trying not to edit this, so pawing. I've lost my place now. The poor unfortunate females at his local Mecca centre. He was hastily ejected after numerous complaints to the management, and aided by 2 fellow rogues in arms, proceeded to replete his revenge on some innocent, unsuspecting campers on a nearby holiday camp by donating them a sound kicking for their troubles. However, Kronos was given away by the motif etched into his jacket, Venom, and was brought to his just deserts. Quite right too. The Mighty Wrathchild, ORC Rocky, posted on Facebook. I think they've got a new album coming out. First one in a while. Tour news: Wishbone Ash, Palace, Saracen, Dumpy's Rusty Nuts, T34, a three-piece East End hard rock band, don't know much about them. Ellie Hooker, International Heroes, Static, and Syrka. I think that's how you pronounce it. There's a guitar player called Jan Syrka. Singles, we have top singles and albums, etc. God, it's still Eye of the Tigers, that's still going on. Eye of the Tiger, Living for the City. You've got another thing coming by Judas Priest. Rough Cuts is still in there. Albums, still Eye of the Tiger. Rough Diamonds by Bad Company and the Jimi Hendrix Concerts are number 3. Import albums: In Transit by Saga. Spies, still don't know much about them. And Motorhead, Beer Drinkers, The Hatchet Job. Gillan, 7 Up. Don't know what this is. Press pause and read that at your leisure. Michael Schenker Group advert. Y&T, Melt Your Face Off, brand new album, Black Tiger. It's a good album, as I said in last week's one. Singles reviewed by Toots Daily. Who's reviewing? Or he, I don't know who Toots Daily is. Spider, Rock and Roll Forever Will Last. Nice boogie there. Stiff Little Fingers, Bits of Kids. That's a good tune, that. Tigers of Pantang, Paris by Air. Oh dear. After literally frothing at the gills with enthusiasm for their latest album, the Tigers have to go ahead and release a track that sounds totally bland, pointless, superficial and pretentious when taken out of the context of the LP. Even if this by some dastardly horrible chance happened to become a hit, it's not at all representative of the band and will attract the wrong punters. How dare the wrong punters listen to the Tigers of Pantang, the Michael Schenker Group, Dancer. Oh, I noticed on Facebook, again, just to show I keep my finger on the pulse here, Graham Bonnet is doing a tour where he's just playing, or where it's featuring Assault Attack. Who knew? Hawkwind, Stampede, Days of Wine and Roses, that's an EP, isn't it? The Rods, Too Hot to Stop, Too Hot to Stop. Brilliant, love the Rods. Randy California, All on the Watchtower. Not the most inspired cover, has to be said. Praying Mantis, the Praying Mantis EP of James Marshall Hendrix, a native of Seattle, Washington, I think. Krokus, Fernando von Arb. I always found it strange that he seemed to have a single coil on the bridge and a humbucker in the middle of his strap, but I guess that's a bit like Pete Townsend and his Les Paul Deluxes. The Krokus Crack the Big Apple. No doubt a feature of Krokus, Swiss Maltese heroes, Krokus in New York. I'll scan that in for you. Armed and ready. More heavy hopefuls to watch out for. Grim Reaper. Oh, there's just a picture of the bass player. How strange. Nick Bocott, now a YouTube personality. Nick Bocott, good guitar player. Sam Thunder, not much about them. Mancunian Mayhem and Fury, who are from Southampton. The band quickly built up a small but loyal following along the south coast and even supported AC/DC in Southampton, gaining themselves more recognition. There you go. Well done, lads, supporting AC/DC. That's brilliant. Scan that one in for you. Oh, Tom Petty and a Perspex guitar. Dan Armstrong, maybe. And there's a beardy Mr. Tony Clarkin. The late great Tony Clarkin. With a couple of pints. Oh no, I think there's a brandy and a pint. A pint and a chaser, as we say here. Chasing the Crazy Train. Oh, of course, they were on tour with in the US with OZZY. Well, that was an advert from last week where he was cutting edge technology. 1982, right there. Cuts. Here we have reviews of albums. I will scan this in for you. Don't want to read all these out. Smoke on the Highway, Blackfoot, Highway Song Live. Brilliant. Recorded in the UK, I think Road Fever was recorded in Edinburgh. I was there, so technically I'm on a Blackfoot Live album. The JIMI HENDRIX concerts, a nice one that. Deep Purple Live in London, I don't think that's quite as good. It's that Coverdale vocals. Bad Company, Rough Diamonds, various artists. Heavy Metal Thunder, that's a really good compilation actually. Who's on that? Dawkin, Rose Tattoo, Saxon, what have they got? Rage, and who else? Can't remember. I mean, I could read this and tell you. Rose Tattoo, but I'll scan it in. Demon. You can do it. Shooting Star, Canadian band, I think. American hard rock band. MANOWAR, Battle Hymns. The first thing that's going to hit you about this band from the Aucoin stage is the image, which, as with his previous Hypester's Kiss, is guaranteed to garrote the unprepared and staple the knees of the meek. MANOWAR. And here we go. A full exclusive with the madman himself. I would expect people have already scanned this and you should be able to find it online. I mean, I don't want to scan all the stuff that somebody's probably already done, because I'll sort of stick to the lesser known bands. I think scanning stuff in. Now, it's a Sunday and you know I like to warn my audience, please look away if you don't want to see Ozzy's nipples. And he seemed to have knocked out an elephant as well. Don Airey and Rudy Sarzo, In the Sea. A nice holiday there. And Brad Gillis, Rudy Sarzo, and I don't know who else, appear to be jamming at Ozzy's wedding. Like MTV Unplugged decades before it happened. Concerts. Who is live and who's being reviewed. Lionheart live at the Marquee. Good band. Black Rose, one of my favourite bands, love Black Rose. Black Rose are a very tight, very organised, and most important of all, very exciting heavy metal 4-piece, indeed. And Geddy Sax and Battle Axe is literally all the axes live at the Fillmore Country Club, Saltburn by the Sea. I don't know where Saltburn by the Sea is. Oh, Donington. So this is Donington 82. Quo, Gillan, Saxon, Hawkwind, Uriah Heep, Anvil. That must have been Anvil's first sort of UK shows. They probably played the Marquee as a warm-up or something like that. I should have warned you before. I'm showing you pictures of lips and some sort of bondage gear. Sorry about that. Rush. Oh, Alex with his white jacket on and a Strat. In the Strat era. What were the guitars he was using? Was it, or the necks, a shark or something like that? Conan. Conan the Conqueror. Uriah Heep discography. Monkey Business. Gillan live in Malaysia. Band and stuff like that. Well, that's why in last week's episode there was a picture of Ian Gillan sitting on an elephant. I hope you didn't see that, but he's teaching what appears to be a chimpanzee how to smoke. Asia, only time will tell. Picture this. Never really got Asia. Steel Crazy compilation. Metallic Mayhem from the likes of the Rods, Twisted Sister, Anvil, and Girls School. Pen Pals. Oh man, I wish people hadn't sent their photographs in. You know, it's not aged well. I'm not going to scan them in and embarrass people, but Heavy Rocker 13 would like female rockers or male to write to him. I'm into AC/DC, Saxon, Lizzie, Thin Lizzy I presume, Rush, Motorhead, etc. But I've said this before, the really great thing about this was when you read, I'll just go through this. Here's Sweden, Norway, Germany, Australia, Canada. Just it's brilliant. It was bringing heavy metal fans together. It's just unfortunate that some of them would send photographs of them 13-year-old selves in and it's not worn well. Face on the Base, Bill Wyman. Is he still alive? I don't know. Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It has to be Spider, Ross the Boss. I once did a gig, sporting band Ross Boss was in, and I shook his hand, and I think I gave him a shot of my Greco Ace Frehley Les Paul. That's today's incredibly interesting rock and roll story. Sorry about that. Letters. Well, I find one that's I'm going to do a special. I'll when we get to issue 30, I'll like read the previous 10. So I didn't want to get the best one here. I'll just go with this. Here we go. Dear Dave Dixon, or is it Elton John? By the look of the picture, what a shit review of the Pink Fairies Live at the Roundhouse album. He writes 17 lines about Pink Fairies fans, and he has never fucking seen one, let alone met one. The reason is probably chatting up Bucks Fizz fans of the male species. Oh, I'm a bit cutting that. What does a little shit stand looking at the record for 10 minutes for if it makes him feel nauseous? On a final note, the reason we've sent this note on bog paper and the editors put true is because it might come in handy for Dave, seeing as he talks a load of shit. There you go. That's from two non-existent Pink Fairies fans from deepest clandestine Morecambe. And on the back page, for some reason, oh, of course, it's the Eye of the Tiger, which, you know, I guess at that point in time it was like that Bryan Adams song. It was in the charts for like, I don't know, 7.5 years or something like that. So there we go, folks. That was Kerrang issue 24 from September 9th to September 22nd of 1982. 2 copies. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Cheers for now.